Yourself.
Oh, sorry, we introductions.
That part.
Good question. I'm having an existential crisis. Phil Duranzio, Planning Commission, real estate professional, et cetera.
You know, my hunker burner love.
That's right.
And,
Smoldering volcano of Viral man.
Antoine Williams, Office of Community Solutions.
Madeline Metzler, Office of Community Solutions.
Dan Pelletier with Charlottesville DSA.
With what, sorry?
Charlottesville DSA.
Thanks.
I'm Megan Adosip. I'm a land use planner with Williams Mullen.
Jada Howell, Piedmont Community Land Trust.
And Alan Pura with the Office of Community Solutions. Okay, thank you. Welcome, everybody. The first thing on our agenda is staff update. Mr. Antoine.
I have some interlocking updates for you all. And this won't be a full exhaustive presentation. I'm just gonna read through some high level points on each of these reports that will be made to the city council on the 21st. And I still don't know if council agenda's been published yet, but these materials in your packet are part of the council agenda, which is why they weren't shared before council, but they should be now. So you have them printed out here. You have an additional slide printed out for the affordable housing report. That is slide 10. Reason for that addition is that change with the new slide that's printed isn't reflected in the attachment. So that change happened after the upload, so. So 2 points about the 2025 affordable housing report. It reflects a 4-year checkpoint of the 10-year affordable housing plan adopted in 2021. Specific to that plan is a $100 million commitment over the next 10 years. This report is meant to be a check-in to evaluate the city's performance against that hierarchy goal. Specifically, to date, for the past 4 years, it's been approximately about $59.1 million spent. Of that, that's about 59% of the overall $100 million goal. Within that, the direct housing investment makes up about 48.1 million to date.
$100 million goal?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry.
No worries. Yeah, they're not numbered, it's kind of different. At least they're
It's bullet
placed in
point.
order, I think. 48.1 million in total direct investments. To date, we have about 1,023 supported affordable units through the city's efforts. 35% of the SAUs supported affordable units.
Sorry, can I interrupt for 1 second, just to make sure I'm understanding? So the direct housing investment that's been the 48 million, that includes commitments made to date. So not all those dollars have necessarily been spent, correct me if I'm wrong. Like I'm looking, for example, at, one of the things included is the Carlton Mobile Home Park acquisition, where the city is going to be spending money over time.
Where are you looking at that information?
I'm looking in the city council agenda item, and I'm on this
Second
page 2, number
three.
3 says direct housing investments of 48.17 million. You see where I am? Bottom of page 2.
Yeah, down there by your phone.
And it lists Friendship Court, Zero J.
Right.
On the next page. Says
And what I'm-
Carlton
okay.
Mobile.
And I'm just trying to make sure that we know within the hack, but also that council is clear that, and correct me if I'm wrong, that the 48 million is the committed funds, not necessarily the actual spent funds at this moment, or am I wrong?
So the 48 million, 48.1 is actually committed. However, that item should not be articulated there in that bullet. That's because that's been committed but not allocated or spent. So where that does appear in this, and highlighted further, is budgetary impact. What section is that? Where we begin to talk about from FY26 to FY30.
That's fine. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure, like, what I heard you say as you were presenting initially is that they've spent 48 million, but that's not actually technically true. They just committed 48 million.
So, yes, they've committed it. So to us, what's in this 48 million is from the city's accounting database.
Sure.
So it's been designated to an account.
Yep.
So perhaps I should frame it in that context. So the money, the organization may not have dispersed that money, but it's
Right.
been deployed by the
Yep.
city.
That's fine. Great.
Been committed, basically.
Yes. Yes. So I guess that is, so within that bulleted list, does Carlton Mobile Home Park fit there in your mind? Or
Yeah, of
should-
course,
Okay.
100%.
Okay.
Yeah, I just wanted to be sure that, like, because inevitably I would imagine council is going to have a similar question.
Yes.
I just wanted to clarify that.
Oh, by all means, feel free to give me as much dry run as possible. Next Monday.
I mean, I think that's important. The main, I don't know what you're thinking the main reason that is, but for me, it's, I think most counselors will take out their calculators and do a quick math check.
Sure.
And 40 million divided by 1,000 units gives you a price per unit, but that's not the whole picture.
That's not the whole picture, right?
Price committed, but there are gonna be more units that will be filled with the money that's already obligated.
And within that, to that point, Dan, that's also enumerated in the report as well, that that's not the whole story, that there's a pipeline story beyond this. That's,
Okay.
hopefully we do capture it well enough so the council can grab that understanding.
Great.
That is confusing though, because it says from FY 22 to FY 25, the city invested.
That's pretty.
Like in the past tense, and then I'm
It's
looking
pretty-
ahead, it says with 12.7 million scheduled for allocation in FY 26, and additional anticipated requests are approximately 40 million for FY 27 and
Because
30.
it's invested, as I stated, because
Sorry.
it's committed and it's already in an account.
So-
And it's been deployed, right? So when I go into the city's accounting database, which is SAP, and I look for one of these projects by names, I can see a dollar amount and when that dollar amount entered into that account and that account number in what year. So that's why it's,
So invested in that year means it's allocated to an account, but it doesn't mean it's in the hands of Sunshine or something.
No.
Right.
Until that year, like Sunshine, for instance. PHA has multiple projects, CRHA has multiple projects. So it's in the CIP for 2025, 2026, 2027, and whatever. But actually, sometimes, even though they are maybe 1 year ahead or something like that, we may start executing the agreement, the paperwork, So once it's in there,
Is that actual funds sitting in an account?
Huh?
it's quite literally, it's an account.
It's money sitting
Pressure
in
on.
there.
Yeah, bank. There's a lot of money. Once they issue the bond, there's a lot of money sitting in there.
Oh, I just wanted to, I think what Antoine is also articulating is, there are things planned in the CIP, but that 48.1 million is beyond just something that was mentioned in the CIP,
Right,
because
right.
that's how we get,
Mhm.
there's not an account created until there's an agreement or something more specific passed by council.
Yeah.
So it makes it slightly more concrete, but most of the time, until the thing is built, we're not really gonna be handing over
Right.
a lot of money, so.
So those dollars that Madeline just highlighted, in terms of that they're mentioned in the CIP, that have been presented, for example, through this recent budget process, aggregate to an approximate amount of 53 million. If you add that 53 million to where we are at this midway point, we are at, or projected to hit about $120 million spent oriented around housing activities. Now, that's inclusive of direct housing investment, the tax relief program, and then also the affordable housing plan accounts for administrative costs. So that is also detailed in this report. Yeah, but one point I wanted to bring out is, it's also, it's spoken to a little bit better in the report, is that there are, as you know, the affordable housing plan laid out funding targets with regards to how much should be guided towards 30% AMI, that deeply affordable pool, and what have you, and 60%, 80%. Respectively, plan suggests that 50% of the allocation should support households earning 30% or less, 30% earning 60% AMI, and 20% earning 80% AMI. if we were to aggregate that across also unit production or unit preserve, I think would be page 3 of that packet. You can see what that number breakdown should be. Under SAU pipeline baseline to date, right? So we have 348, I'm getting a little bit too in the weeds on this, but 348 units for that 30% AMI and below, and about 427 units and 208 units. That's to date. That doesn't account for what's in the pipeline.
Can I ask a quick question on that? So do we track that specific data for the tax relief programs? So is that integrated into those AMI levels?
Not yet. We are working with that department. As you know, that program is administered through different agencies. So we want to align our reporting systems and our compliance systems in the future to better track that. So this number, by the time we're done reporting over the next 10 years, hopefully that's more robust, that's more comprehensive. We have a better picture of where we stand on that. But this so far today, this is just CIP, direct, CAF, your CAF grant, HOPS, to some extent.
So even if we don't have the data now, do we know if whether, I don't know which city agency oversees the tax relief programs, but do we know if they actually collect that data?
Not extensively, I don't. What I do know is like sort of the general requirements of like which AMIs qualify for those certain programs. So if you just aggregate this on a basic one application, one household per program that's awarded, you get to a raw number, but we have not gotten a aggregate report from you yet.
Okay.
And who does administer that tax and follows the tax relief?
The revenue department. Okay. I just want to highlight some next steps for the affordable housing report. After it's presented, we want to finalize the FY 25 investment, close out FY 25, as there might be some numbers or values represented on attachment A, for example, that are just budgeted. They're not actual dollars. So we have to go back into that system around mid-June, mid-July, as we're closing out the year to see what the actual spend for accounting was. Then beyond that, we will be monitoring the pipeline and performance tracking to exactly to a point that Dan mentioned. And then developing our FY 26 work plan around that. Also, we want to highlight that one significant milestone for staff is that we've created a beta for our dashboard for tracking housing investments. If you go to it now, it does offer some data sets, but with the caveat that they are not at all meant to be reflected as the most accurate as they need to be updated. But the Affordable Housing Plan called for the city to create a dashboard that will be public facing to help folks track housing investments in real time. So we have created a smart, practical way to test the platform. That way, if we need to build out a more robust platform, we'll know over the next 60, 90 days what type of platform we need. And it should save the city on costs on the back end versus us buying something that's too big for us or too small. So. And that's it on affordable housing report. Also, I know that some of the HAC members or respective organizations might be mentioned or highlighted through a project in this report. If there is a value there that is just in line with our records, please let me know immediately. We are, as I mentioned, another important step after this presentation is for us to work with the budget office and possibly the finance committee of the city to finally reconcile the numbers once we close out the year. So it could be that one of our spreadsheets or data sets has a value in one year that should be actually applied another year when the decision is made. So there's things like that that might require nuance and sorting through, right? So shoot me an email on those points if you see it early.
Can I ask another question?
Yes, sir.
And I apologize, if you want to push this off to a different part in the discussion, that's fine too. I was looking at the, let's see here, this is, I guess these are the slides that are going to be presented to council deeper in, and I'm looking at the 10-year affordable housing plan, and it's this one here. And in the 3 core funding categories, there's 70 million, 20 million, and 10 million. Obviously, on the administrative side, it's been lower than expected.
Right.
But in terms of the ratio, 70 to 20, like 70 million for direct and 20 million for tax relief, I'm just wondering how we're tracking in terms of that that breakdown of percentage, because in my memory from that time, and others may have a different memory, is that was a slightly, not arbitrary distinction between 70 million and 20 million in terms of what goes into what, but it was an estimate. I'm just curious how we're tracking there, if that's captured anywhere. I mean, I guess I could do the math myself, but
It is captured.
I'm pretending to be a council member, so like,
I appreciate that.
ask
Just
questions
actually
that.
don't have my notes for council. I have my-
Good practice.
So if you turn a couple of, maybe 2 or 3 more slides,
See, there's direct
Sunshine.
investment. Oh,
Yeah.
under
there's
supported affordable units pipeline, you'll see how we're tracking basically in terms of units. That spend is also aligned with that as well. I have specific dollar amounts to that though, and how much we're over. So we're following, we're about even at the 20% target. We're over 43%.
I see it. Yep.
Yep.
Gotcha.
And then the slide following that also kind of gets into it a bit as well underneath it.
The channel by inner Rory Solzenberg, is there like
Enter who?
he always asks about like a more detailed breakdown of how these costs are used. I've tried to look it up in your beta.
No, it's a beta. It's not.
Yeah, I couldn't find it.
It's a beta.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, data.
Maybe it's alpha.
Um, Is
What data set are you looking for?
I'm just trying to figure out, like, kind of like what Dan said, what's, like, for the money that goes in, how many units are produced? And how, basically, what is the cost per unit?
So that is a set that once completely built out, that should be there.
Okay.
That's not there currently today. What we offer right now is just a high level, what projects have gotten what in what year, right? We haven't broken out what the unit count is for that specific year.
It'd be hard to do that.
We can do it now at this stage, now that we've gotten all of this gotten here, so that can be something that certainly can be aggregated through the conversations with finance committee and those next level of coordination with the city
Yeah.
and budget. But everything we needed to do up until this point, that information was not, it didn't live in some database, it wasn't on some spreadsheet.
Sure.
This is us reading through reports, agenda items, going into the city's accounting program, seeing what the dollar amount, project amount, unit numbers aren't in there. And unless you have committed to memory, oh, Kindlewood has X amount of units in phase 1, and this amount of.
So it
Could it be there? No, I mean, there's not
I'm just being annoying, I'm sorry.
that's okay, this is how I would respond. There's not, there's not a value input section for unit count in SAP.
Yeah.
Right? That would take someone who has that all committed in their memory when they're aggregating this report to put it together. I don't.
Yeah, yeah, no, I honestly, I ask because I'm curious as we're going through building units, how much it takes to build an affordable unit, right? I'm just curious what the dollar per unit amount is from a.
Well, you can get there, you can back into it to Dan's point, that if you look at like, year spend and units produced so far, where we're kind of averaging at, is that a true number? No, because there's a pipeline that is to be accounted for as they develop.
It might be like a more helpful to just, if you have a couple of specific projects, like you can more easily calculate them. And that honestly would probably be more accurate because otherwise if we're taking like the total units and all of the project money, I'm sure there's variation from projects, although we actually don't know because we don't have the data at this time.
Right. And there's some projects that are articulating maybe the CIP, for example, this is a good example like West Haven, or another project where until that agreement is signed and council is vetted and the number of units are spoken to and a point, we're extrapolating. And that might not even be reflective to the pro forma that developer might end up with when they actually go to close and put it all together.
And to that point, just from a practitioner perspective, we saw a sea change in the need for locality-based funding or state-related funding at the midpoint of the last Trump administration when some tax policy shifted and changed and the availability of federal resources changed. We are in the middle of not a sea change, but like, like global change right
Yeah.
now. And so what we have projected historically may not actually bear out into the future.
Are there audits that happen regularly or at the end of a project or?
I mean, they're
Doing.
primarily through, but I'll speak on the LIHTC side. So like there's a tremendous amount of like post-closing work that happens with Virginia Housing at the state level. So all of that happens when you convert to perm financing and like all that stuff happens. It's very, very onerous and intense, but not necessarily, other than saying here it is, it's been built, not necessarily at the city level.
And is there a process for amending the 10-year plan in light of major
Yes.
changes in funding?
Yes.
Yeah, it'll be a council thing, right? Where a recommendation comes forward and that's where we have to kickstart it from there.
To Sunshine's point that he goes through such an onerous process in the LIHTC, to go to permanent financing, is that information available to the city? Because since the city's making investments as well in these projects,
What information specifically?
the information about,
The process he has to go through as a.
no, like the
The
how,
final documents.
or how these funds were used, like if there's any points in which you can find,
We have access essentially to what
Efficiency.
Virginia Housing makes public record. Like, we don't get any
Is that
internal
public
document.
A lot of it is, I'm not entirely sure, to be honest, if that particular piece is or not.
So there's two ways we gather information regarding our LIHTC application, is what is published in the Virginia Housing level. And then if there's an agreement where there's reporting requirement, we glean the information there and create our own report or synopsis of what it is.
thank you.
Is there any more follow-up on the affordable housing piece or report piece?
This is a lot.
Yeah, no, this is great.
I have one question. What's the Dogwood portfolio? Is that Carlton?
No.
No, that's correct. And where do you see that at? Just wanna make sure I-
Under the
Under
direct
direct
investment
investments.
breakdown?
Okay, so that was a large portfolio acquisition led by the CRHA that the city supported. I think I want to say it's about 70 houses, something like that.
72 units, something like that.
Some of it's mixed with single family and duplexes, so not all are like.
It's spread
Where-
across the city, not
It's
just
about
like in one
72
Where is it?
location.
All of the
Scattered.
cities.
Oh, it's
scattered.
throughout, and
Yeah.
that's, okay, gotcha,
It's a
thanks.
portfolio owned by Woodard.
But it was a transition from
Eugene Williams.
Eugene Williams, Woodard, and so it was affordable. Woodard maintained affordability, but as that permanent loan came up and it was gonna be refinanced, the affordability was gonna get lost without that investment.
Okay, can I ask one more?
Yeah.
Virginia Supportive Housing Vista 29?
So that is the permanent supportive housing project, the sort of the crossings two that's in the county on 29, that was Premier Circle, that site.
What was the hotel's name again?
Red Carpet Inn.
Right, yeah.
And so that's the first phase of redevelopment of that site for 80 units of permanent supportive housing. And there was county subsidy and there was city subsidy because it was recognized.
It's joint.
There will be more.
Joint effort.
That's slide 7, you're making these notes, huh? The questions are? Yeah, all right.
This is a lot.
So I have another question, I'm sorry. This is just all new to me. Well, you all have it named differently than from how I know it. What's the VCF housing line?
Oh, it should probably be spelled out, but that's the Vibrant Communities Fund before it became the Housing Operation Program Support Grant. And it's administered through the CAF fund.
City money.
Just city money?
Yeah.
It goes for housing programs and support, so not for construction of
Yeah,
new
that will
housing.
disappear from the housing world.
Housing.
Vibrant communities, as those age out. It's all hops, yeah.
It's HUBs, okay.
It's for housing operation, pretty much, instead of construction.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, carry on, Antoine.
Thanks, Joey.
I'm so proud. My bad. Where are we? Land Bank Authority?
Okay,
All right, so the first thing we do is we, in the report, kind of highlight the enabling, Land Bank Entities Act. We don't go into deep detail because council's heard it before. I'm gonna say October last year, we presented, and then, commenced with our work stream to get to this point. Which you all are being involved with that as well. We highlight in the report, board structure, includes city council, planning commission, committee members, and city manager appointee. We highlight powers included, for example, acquisition, tax delinquent, unutilized land, et cetera. Some observations, we discuss, but don't go into, we don't make any determination on, which is, funding mechanisms. We do highlight that it could include tax captured up to 50% as allowed by the enabling legislation. Cover the name, supports long-term affordability through deed restrictions, covenants, and strategic partnerships. We highlight how it aligns with the affordable housing plan goals. We cover some next steps, for example, a deeper legal review before the actual incorporation of the entity. A public hearing is required for the enabling legislation. Council action must vote to adopt the ordinance formally established. That you should have a copy of the draft ordinance in that packet. Board appointees.
Yeah, we do. There's been some significant deviations in this draft.
You can comment to that,
Yeah.
Specifically to the attorney.
Well, I mean, this is one thing that we felt all very strongly about that thrown out the window, which is that we're gonna bury in the ordinance what type of housing and at what live apparently, instead of just connecting it to policy.
I can,
I'll make a comment. That's fundamentally dumb. All right, we can move on.
Okay, great.
Where's the,
Are you looking at, Bill?
I'm looking at chapter 2, administration article, land bank authority. It's
In the slides?
4 pages in. I just haven't looked at the slides. I'm looking at the
Oh,
ordinance.
the court of ordinance.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So this is gonna be in,
it's
this
the
is,
ordinance language. So the land bank can't follow general policy. It can't follow the general policy. It can't follow the strategy of the city. It can't, fill in gaps. It must be in lockstep with what this ordinance says. I think that's on its surface incredibly dumb and limiting.
yeah, this is, I guess, different than the ordinance we had.
It is.
Yeah, it is different, but if you guys recall.
The lawyer went over it.
The,
The lawyer went over it, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
I still think that's not a lawyer question. That's a policy question, and I think it's a bad policy. I also need to report to the hack that yes, I'm supposed to prepare a draft about the
Yeah,
parallel.
I was gonna remind you.
And now that I've got this will make it easier to address this specifically and respond to it. But to hit the high points, since we all weren't here, we want a parallel corporation. We want a sunset, a transfer to that independent nonprofit that is controlled by city council. And yeah, we got it, and I'll add this to it. That's not-
So can we let Antoine hit his
Yeah.
points?
Yep.
And
So-
then Phil, you can,
Okay, I think I'm done convincing this.
So it's a draft where your remarks will come into play with regards to next steps and where you could red line or flag for change or flag for deletion, whatever you wish to council and city attorney. Would be in our next steps where we begin to finalize before we get ready. There are no dates set. If you go to that page where it outlines potential next steps, after the 21st, then we'll kind of set out dates for when these things can happen.
Yep.
No, I was, until you're done.
So depending on how this body wishes to organize with regard to this policy committee or as a whole, when you want to target remarks or you want to address it individually, sending it to the council, city manager, or what have you. That's all for you to decide, but this is the general next steps, and between bullets 1 through 4 is where you would kind of find where you would have those inputs made. So that's my question.
So as we consider preparing either edits or responses or suggestions for changes, it would be helpful to understand the reasoning behind the changes from the attorney. Like, even though we might believe this is a policy, which I agree with you, I think this is like that one example is a policy shift, not a legal one. Maybe there's some legal piece we're missing. So it would be helpful to understand what their motivation was in these changes, so we can respond accordingly.
That would be like, for example, a question you would write together and then I will forward it to them, because I'm not sure, for example, that section you might be referring to could be responsive to opinions of executive leadership or a specific counselor or city attorney, or OCS staff.
So it's more than
I'll get
legal.
on- I'll get on it this weekend. I'll get on it this weekend. I promise.
That's gonna be all for you to decide if it's gonna be Phil getting on it or you all as a committee or however you wish to do it. I think you should probably
Committee.
consider that.
But I think it's valid to understand
Phil,
why,
before you
Committee.
why changes were
Yeah.
proposed, who made them
Well,
and what the reasoning
The way we
is.
left it is that I was gonna write a general draft of discussion that was then going to be edited and chewed on by either the HAC policy committee or the whole HAC, depending on
So,
what.
but the legal or whomever has looked at this and this is their response back to us.
Well, we don't know that. These sections could have been in response to, you know,
Who
city
wrote this?
councilor
So the
saying-
draft of this is put together from templates of other land bank authorities.
Mm.
It's put together with comments made by
Everybody.
everybody, and it's trying to be responsive to a lot of voices.
Yeah.
So I feel like if you have like something in there that reflects a policy change or implementation that's not reflective in your original draft, and you wish to call that out, fair point, call it out in question and leave it to the executive team and city council to draft their response.
And we can do this as a committee.
Right.
Or whatever committee, the committee that meets to do this, just so more eyes is on it. So when we come to the meeting,
No.
we'll have we don't have like 2 hours of questioning. So, trying to be very
We've got 16
efficient.
million invested in this.
Yeah, so,
I know, I feel like we're starting
So,
over.
Madam Chair, I'll commit to
What happened?
throwing together something to talk about over the weekend so that we can schedule.
so that we
next
can
week.
set it, I
Next
would
couple
love
weeks.
that, I would love that.
And I'm happy to chair a policy committee meeting once we get Phil's response.
I'll just bullet it out so that we can have something.
And we have new folks here that, you know, may not have been a part of this, that I do want to make sure they have some.
I think everybody, I mean,
We were on-
you folks-
Pepe, have you seen it?
Yeah, this group has talked about it.
I don't know.
I've
Pepe.
seen it, again, I haven't read this document because we're just getting it right now.
Oh,
So
okay.
I can't compare it to
She was part
former
of it.
discussions that I have.
But this
Phil,
cycle,
yeah.
we've been here for every discussion on this cycle of it, yeah.
Okay,
Joy's seen it like 4 times.
yeah, and
Joy and
the
I saw
last
this
I
in
remember, there was gonna be, what'd you say?
I said, she said, you've seen it 4 times, and I said, the first time Joy and I saw this was in 2017.
But I thought the lawyer was gonna review it, is what I thought, and so if
I thought it was.
Alex.
So I just wanna remind the committee. After you guys finish with your draft, which you submitted to the city, if you recall, the deputy city manager was here.
Yeah.
And I believe the
Yeah.
city manager provided a response to some of your email, when he said, okay, HAC is done with this. Now, I'm gonna take it, I'm gonna review it with the city attorney, and
Yeah,
and also
remember that.
review it with the city council. And after that review, that's what you have. And that's what.
Okay, so you just, okay, all right.
I'm just trying to direct, so you guys don't start rehashing. So what I
Okay.
would recommend, this is gonna be presented to the city council on 21st. If council decides to go forward with the creation of the land bank corporation, authority, because they already been briefed by the city manager on this, then that ordinance is subject to public review at that point. And if you guys, the committee comes up with whatever you come up with, then you submit it to the city manager as part of that public review. But I just want to bring that out,
So,
the city manager made it clear. Once you guys submit this,
when we submitted it,
Yeah.
that he's gonna take it up from that point.
right,
It becomes his, to review with the city attorney.
which he did.
Which he did, and that, what we are reviewing right now is.
So what we have now is what
It's
they
not-
reviewed together.
Yeah,
To be clear, not everything clearly, everything you.
That we asked for is not in
drafted
there.
is not in it, right? It was like, we're gonna take some and leave some, or add some, like that process ensued, right? So what you all, Alex, if I'm misframing what I think you're saying, correct me. What you have now is the version you comment, suggest changes or flag questions or elevate as to why that's in there. This is the time to do that now.
But
It's not like you're gonna go back to your original version.
No, of course, we would take this, but the challenge I'm trying to understand around this going in front of council on the 21st. If we're going in front of council for them to reflect on as opposed to potentially vote on, there's no window of time for us to meaningfully pull together comments and have a back and forth with the city manager's office
I think.
if we have substantive changes.
This version, that when this becomes an action item, I guarantee you this is not, and before I start this, I will preface this presentation that the draft of this, when this becomes an action item, is not likely to read or even look the same.
I see. So this is an update effectively.
Yeah, this
for
is to
council.
show that we've done a little bit more than conceptualizing.
And
Gotcha.
then what you
Okay.
guys did is also going
That's
to be
fine.
reported to the city
That's fine.
council.
That's fine.
The process to this point.
Yeah, we just don't want to be in a situation where like this goes in front of council for them to prepare to vote and then
No,
we
no.
have a counter memo, then like all things fall apart and that's no good.
I'll leave it that preference, that
Yeah.
understand that what's before you is not likely to be the final form once we have this as an action item.
Right, yeah, this bullet point thing is not to go out, it's to, hey, city attorney, why did you do this? Hey, city manager, we expressed these issues with this, you really didn't respond to those, you just changed it, what's the story here?
Why are you presenting it? If it's not, they're just wanting an update and you're just giving them an update?
In context, bit of context is with regards to some components of the affordable housing plan that calls for us to basically build out a more robust
Okay.
toolkit of
So you're just
policies.
showing that we've.
So I'm saying, hey, we talked to you in October about this, and then again in January, we've met, we've done a little bit more than meetings. Here's where we are.
Okay,
We're not done yet. We have to meet some more.
right.
And whenever you, and I'm not sure who sets it, it'll probably be the executive team, will signal to me when it's a target for bringing this as an action item. And I will back into some work plans, certainly involving the hack. Hey, you all, we have to convene, whether it's through policy or committee, if you have enough time to get this hashed out or reviewed so we can get to draft form for an action item. My goal is to, when that becomes an action item, it might not be perfect in all cases, but to have it majority a consistency around the initial draft of that ordinance that we all can stand on and be proud of as something to start with recognition that once this thing is grown into its own entity or quasi entity of the city, that there might be further change to
Is there
it.
a goal in which we want to accomplish this by the end of, not by the end of this year?
So if you're wanting to align activities around budget calendars where such that if you're thinking as a body is, let me put it back to you as a question. How does HAC feel about the date in which this should be opened, right? On day one, when this land bank is created and should do something.
Is it unrealistic to say by the end of the year? Just because we've been working on it all year.
Well, here's what needs to happen. Look at the
You gotta-
activities plans. Like,
yeah.
it has to,
It's gotta fit in.
so I'm gonna say this, I mean, with not having to speak for you all, I want you to think about it. From the behaviors of internal and just the timeline of what I've seen, by this time next year, it is feasible to have a live land bank by this time
In a
next
year.
year.
Okay.
Yeah, because, where's my page?
Thank you.
Yeah,
So
so,
April or May of,
yeah, there's
26.
incorporation that needs to happen, the drafting of the final ordinance, and then the public hearing, it goes into a council agenda. And then before it's incorporated, then they have to appoint board members, because before, with the incorporation paperwork, you have to also write into the ordinance, the initial board members. Why it's written that way, but
In
it
order to
is.
form a non-stock corporation, you need 2 directors to form it. So the city manager and whoever the planning commission picks or the city council
Council.
picks, they can form it on paper. It's because it's a Virginia non-stock corporation.
But within the enabling legislation, it also says that
Says
the
the
city
board
has
has
to
to
write
appoint
within
them,
its
yes.
ordinance, the board members,
Yes.
so.
But to follow up on the timeline for a moment,
Mhm.
there was a time when there was an informal set aside of $500,000 for the use,
That's
for the
gone.
land, I
That's
know,
right.
for the land bank. So, now that is gone, we know that. But practically speaking, ideally, there's some preliminary capitalization from the city, even if it's not, at the scale of $500,000 or whatever, which, correct me if I'm wrong, right now, city councils, they just approved their FY '26 budget, so realistically, that's not until an FY '27 budget. Is that fair?
Yeah.
So even though the structure might be in place this time next year,
The
there may
activities-
not actually be a
Funding.
capitalization,
Correct.
at least on the public side. There may be a private opportunity, et cetera, but on the public side wouldn't happen
That's
until.
possible,
There is-
unless some other funding becomes more available sooner.
Right.
Yeah, there is some CAF money that's floating around, for example.
Yeah, there are potentially other sources, but I think it's probably, given the funding temperature in the world right now, I think it is probably best for us to assume the worst case, that it wouldn't show up until FY '27.
In terms of it being active.
In terms of there being dollars to actually utilize.
Productive.
Until FY
Well,
'27.
and with the private money too, there's an issue that the Community Reinvestment Act is in the midst of its.
It's about to be
regulatory-
obliterated, yeah.
Is about to be blown to smithereens,
That's right.
which is a major funding source that
That's right.
they may not wish to, that banks may not wish to continue,
Okay.
but the banks don't understand that yet, so.
Actually, I think we should focus on getting the council, having a final document, ordinance, following the council meeting on the 21st, which is next week. I won't worry about the funding yet, until we get to that point.
Agreed.
Yeah.
But again, putting on my pretend council hat for a moment, there might be value in you also including a projected timeline, like what you think might be realistic, given the processes that have to be taken between now and then. I would imagine they're gonna ask that question.
So for that answer to come to the podium at that time, it will have to be something that's consulted with the executive team, budget, like Antoine. I can look at it and say, hey, you guys, so I think this is when you're just reachable,
This is
you
our
all can
goal.
do this then. And you're like, yeah, we'll get back to you on it.
But I like that,
Fair
yeah.
fair point.
But I do like that idea of just saying our goal, what we would like to see, but I know that
Hey, I'm bold enough to throw it out there.
You can say the HAC's goal is,
it's documented if you do it.
The HAC's goal is to have this done in 2024.
So if I do have not for nothing, I do have a read from Chesapeake from the time of when they introduced and incorporated and went live. Can highlight their timeline and say,
What
well,
was theirs?
about 6 to 8 months,
Mhm.
That's impressive.
so that's now, I'm pretty sure there was some work before that 6 to 8 months. I'm talking about
Right.
from incorporation to being active.
Right, we haven't even done the corporation. So, it's gonna take some work. So the potential next steps are these 4 things.
Yeah, they are, definitely, these are things that I think must happen for sure. And again, I don't have It all depends on how the finalizing and the legal review and the public engagement piece goes leading up to creating something that can go into an action item for council. If that takes 6 to 8 months, then yeah, we are looking at it next year.
Now I'm confused. I thought that there'd already been a legal review.
There has to kind of, so all the comments and emails and points taken came into this draft, albeit it's not
So
where we
2,
want it
3,
to
and
be,
4 is
right?
what
Let's
we
just say,
have to-
agree with you on that. That this isn't the final version. So when they looked at this, we wanted to make, they only looked at it to make sure there was nothing problematic or going completely against the enabling legislation.
Got it.
So it's not the final stamp on
Got it,
this.
got it. And do we have a lawyer yet, or are we still
Yeah, we do.
subcontract?
It's gonna-
We do?
Yeah, it's gonna start early May, I think first week of May or middle of May.
Oh, wow.
Have we announced who it is? No.
I haven't seen the announcement.
So in the middle of this, speaking of attorneys, our assigned deputy attorney is also left. So we had the new attorney.
Oh,
So, but this got to
turnover is
this point.
Crazy.
So this is why additional legal review is gonna happen anyway.
No wonder you can't get anything done. Our turnover is incredible.
Okay,
So,
so.
not the focus of this meeting, but I just wanted you to say that this is, it's added into the timeline. When we can move this forward.
So if I'm understanding, then, we potentially could be working on 2, 3, and 4.
I would, yeah, I quite honestly, over the next 3 months for sure, is working on the top 2 bullets for sure. And 3 bullets. top 3
Cause
bullets.
one, we have to wait for that attorney to start in May.
Well, in the meantime, the city also has outsourced city attorney's function, to outside attorney.
Yeah,
So
that I
they
know,
still,
yeah.
they review, we still have a
Yeah.
legal support team. So
And they may, based on how Monday goes, there could be steps added to this at the request of council.
Yeah.
And, yeah, so
So how would you all like to play?
Well, for this, I guess Phil's gonna get back to us with some
Then
comments.
it's the bullet points.
Okay,
and then
you got that,
then it's gonna
Antoine?
set a
yeah.
subcommittee based on when that comes in and what we can do.
Oh, yeah.
Now, Phil, are you gonna you're gonna,
I'm gonna make
everyone
this
and CC me, right? Is that how-
Yeah.
I'm sorry, what you
You're,
want?
you're gonna
Make
write
sure
your
you get
email,
everybody.
just make sure I'm on it. And
And CC him.
everybody.
Okay, I mean, I was gonna CC you and have you blast it. I just send it to you and have you blast it out to everybody.
Either
Do
way,
that
that
one too.
work. And then after that, are we gonna come together as a committee to talk about it, or we just gonna do it by email?
We need to do a subject.
Just by email?
Can't do it.
Can't do it by
Do it by
email.
email.
Okay, then, so we have to come together. We will have to set a meeting.
It depends on what Phil I mean, if, without looking.
Whatever he comes up with, we have to meet and talk about it.
No, what I'm saying
Yeah.
is that without doing a side-by-side, I'm looking at this for the first time.
Yeah,
Okay,
Not doing a
okay.
side-by-side comparison, if what Phil says is there's a typo in paragraph 2, and other than that, it's just the same as what we passed, then there's no rationale for a meeting, but my guess is there's gonna be some substantive issues to address.
yeah.
Could we preemptively set a meeting and then if we decide to cancel it, so be it?
I would recommend that.
Set a
Preemptively
meeting.
Set it and then set a deadline to get your comments in so that you all can have time to review each other, because I can send it all to you. And I don't want you trying to read it all at the day of that meeting, that preempt.
Exactly, 'cause-
Now, at this point, we have a PDF and Word version of this thing kicking around that you can send us, right?
Yeah, yes.
All right. Yeah, okay.
So Phil is gonna get his comments to you. You're gonna blast it out to everyone. And we need to potentially
Yeah.
set a meeting. So can we look at calendars now and do that?
Sure. But are you gonna respond to Phil's comments to me for that meeting, or are you gonna respond to him at that meeting?
What do you want?
Or
I
would
think
you
we should,
like to
I should
do
do it at
it?
the meeting. I mean, it's gonna be hard for you to collate comments from a
I
whole
won't,
variety of
it's just a
sources.
matter of trying to save you time at that meeting where you all have your comment, like you've been able to read what you said, or you can just get into it, then it's up to you.
All right.
Feels like borderline trying to do business over email.
Yeah, I think we're better off just doing it transparently.
Yeah.
Just write your questions, comments down and we'll deal with them at the meeting.
Okay.
It's more of a work session than a meeting. That was two weeks from today.
The 30th.
Is that available for you, Antoine, in another room?
Alan, can you see if City Space is available?
City Space is available from 1 to 4. Our space in S&P building is free anytime after 10:30.
Let's use City Space, block out the entire 1 to 4.
Okay.
You can, 2 hours.
30th, is that what we're going?
Till you
For the
finish.
30th, yeah.
We don't finish it.
I would prefer
Because I
the,
imagine you're not just gonna do this, you're probably gonna talk about the other 2 items too.
The 30th at noon.
One,
No,
you said
one.
one.
one. Does
I'm
that
not
work for
offering,
you?
yes, I'm not offering myself for a 3-hour meeting.
No.
No, I'm just saying that window is there, if you wanna
Yeah,
break it up.
Can we estimate 1 to 2:30, like, just to try to get business done? So sometimes a longer meeting means we
Yeah,
ramble.
you fill the meeting space
Yeah.
with stuff, right?
hot air.
No. And heavier, denser, more odorous things.
So that meeting is just for land bank?
Yeah, I think let's bite off more we can chew on that. Let's get that sort of round up. And I'm just gonna stick a hold in my calendar until somebody
Here.
sends something out.
An invite will go out.
Right.
Anton.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Conjure up my notes from 2017 preparation.
We have,
And,
we got.
What time?
okay,
1, 2:30,
define governance.
April 30th.
Should we move on to the next one?
Yes, please.
Yeah,
How are you pronouncing this acronym?
I'm not.
Good top, good top.
Good time.
Oh,
Charlottesville
Just
Affordable
different
Housing
things.
Tax Abatement
Yes.
Program.
It's not online.
That's the working title. So this is another component of the broader housing strategy for the city that the Affordable Housing Plan makers policymakers to consider. Staff evaluated programs from over 16 cities. Key design levers that are being evaluated right now, for example, are standalone versus being integrated. For example, with this, I should back up a step because this point won't make sense. So the enabling legislation for this abatement program, essentially a natural fit or an immediate fit would be under the Charlottesville Economic Development Authority because of the enabling legislation. So this next point in terms of what's being evaluated by staff is whether it should be standalone, like within the Land Bank Authority, for example, or under CETA is what's being contemplated. None of these, what's being presented to council, these are prompts at best, but really just saying council, basically what we did in October around Land Bank, we're now doing this for the abatement, saying, hey, here's what we're working on right now. Our potential work streams are oriented around these thoughts or questions we're trying to figure out in work activities. One of those points being eligibility and enhancements. Does it require cheaper affordability or more ADUs or project size minimums, or are we just going to meet the ordinance where the ordinance is, you know, to better undergird the production of 10% units for affordable ADUs where it applies, right? One question is, like, for example, Richmond's model. Alan, correct me if I say anything wrong, I'll misframe here. Richmond's model, there's a duration consideration, right, of 15 years and then the potential renewal, for example. We're evaluating that because within one contemplation or consideration is that our ordinance requires the affordability of these ADUs for 99 years, right? So how do we make sense of that policy-wise? So that's something that we're sorting through.
Antoine, do you remember about 10 years ago, they did a tax abatement program for folks in the city that renovated older homes?
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
What, yeah.
Do you know, is there any kind of data that shows the success of that program?
I don't.
Yes, we talked about that a couple
Data
of years
sets?
ago. Well, I don't know
Well, I'm
if it's
just,
a data
like-
set, but
Cause I
the
did
city
it.
treasurer, this was before your time.
Yeah.
City treasurer met with the hack
Okay.
along with Commissioner of the Revenue, and we looked at their data set. They have a pretty good data set over a series of years of how that worked. And we looked at that with an idea towards, can we tweak this thing and make it an affordable housing program and say that we'll exclude taxes if we make this an affordable unit sort of thing? And we all talked around it for a while, and it seemed like a good idea. And Ridge, in his usual fashion, popped out a couple of really nice memos on it. And then,
Nothing happened.
I mean, there were so many moving parts of that. And that was COVID era too, yeah.
So you
So,
have to help me find those archives because.
It was a
that
good
might-
program.
That'll help with this discussion at
yeah,
that point.
yeah, it's, we had a fairly, I'll poke Jason on it because I'm sure.
I
he's-
may have some information from when I did it. I'll look back through my records for you.
Yeah, and Richmond said like that, they did a similar program and it was really successful, which is why they decided.
Well,
to do
we
this.
had notes and data and all sorts. Do you remember this vaguely?
Vaguely, yeah.
I've done it too, and I don't think it's much of anything of an abatement. And there's no requirement for affordability or anything.
Yeah, that was
No,
the
but I'm just
point.
saying
We
you
would
could-
take the
Yeah,
basic
yeah.
structure.
Take
and
what
rework it,
worked
say,
and then
yeah.
apply it to this.
Yes, that would be.
So over the phase of the work plan that's been highlighted in the report, and again, there are no dates set. But one of the things we have to do is a market fiscal gap analysis, which we've already have the RFP set up for that and secure those services right away. And then there's continued stakeholder engagement. I'm not sure what that looks like, if that's, a series of work sessions with HAC or with designated folks who want to offer their expertise to the shaping of this and ideas like taking that program and imagine it's gonna be an aggregate of putting all these emails together and meeting internally. But that will be the time to kind of sharpen those modeling, if you will, further.
So this modeling is also happening under reevaluating inclusionary zoning.
What do you mean?
Like they're rethinking about the percentages of affordable housing, and to do that, they have to model pro forma for how to, what sort of IRR and all the same sort of information can be, and you just tweak whether there's how tax abatement impacts.
Right. Yeah, so that's what you mean.
Yeah.
That, will we finally contract with a consultant who's gonna be looking at performing that market analysis for us and building out a model, that might be something right into that scope. Yeah, not might, that is definitely something
Yeah,
right
that
into the
makes
scope.
sense.
And also, if you have like language recommendations that should go into that scope so that we don't misframe it, like send that over, like I'm open to that.
Mike, there was a time back when, well before your time, when we were first contemplating putting out the scope for a consultant to do the affordable housing plan and the comp plan support and all that kind of thing, that the HAC actually played a role in the creation of that scope. So I don't not want to volunteer time on our parts to do that, but it might be helpful just to actually, when you have a draft of a scope, to run it by us to make sure, because it's hard to know exactly what we want to respond to unless we see something to work with.
Okay, we'll be responsive to that.
All right. I'm now sending you everything on that program,
Okay.
on the HAC archives.
Woohoo.
The HAC archives just.
The HAC archives
Okay.
sit on
Oh my
a
God.
section of my company's commercial Google Drive.
They're Phil's Hacks archives, unofficial hack archives.
Well, for a long time, they were the only archives we had,
Yeah.
yes. All right,
Well, that's helpful, thank you.
that's all right, subject. Tax
We should formalize that,
abatement
so that when,
discussion.
God forbid, Phil leave, we have.
That was on the work plan.
Yeah, the leads.
Are there any other questions on the abatement process and presentation for the report?
I mean, this is a fascinating discussion that really impacts projects across the city. What do you want from us? Like, are you just kind of updating us on what city council's gonna review on Tuesday?
Well, here's the thing, it's been sometimes communicated to staff, like getting these things out in front of you sooner. What I didn't want to happen is, so this is going to council on Monday.
Yeah,
So if I waited until Monday and waited till your next meeting to bring this all
We'd
to
be
you,
behind.
it's potentially that a couple of weeks where work streams would have kicked off without you knowing, me signaling to you, hey, start getting your input to me because
Okay.
we're moving into work streams on these
got it.
things. So
Are you presenting all three of these?
I am, in conjunction, Alan's gonna tap him in on the tap or the, how are we pronouncing this? Now you've messed me up.
Katap.
Katap. Chatap.
KTAP.
That's a long one.
Yeah, the chat app. The abatement program. But yeah, so it's gonna be a full work session.
I mean, would it be helpful for you to have, I mean, I know we haven't dialogued about this, but we could take action, just like support the effort, the inquiry,
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
that. I mean, if folks are willing to do that,
I had some folks.
so that the city council knows that HAC is in support of this moving forward and continuing to be explored.
Full transparency, I had some folks from Livable Seaville reach out and say more or less the same. And what I said to them was, if you find anything in there that you find consensus with, highlight that and support it. Anything that you think warrants additional inspection or conversation, also elevate that and let council know that you wish to, discuss that further. Nothing that is presented on the 21st, council's gonna take action on
Right.
against law, right?
So I'll make a motion that the HAC, to state that the HAC is in support of the continued exploration of this acronym, a tax abatement structure, recognizing that, and the HAC is looking forward to being a partner in the dialogue and how it develops over time.
Yeah,
That's my motion.
I second that.
Okay.
I like it.
Oh.
I guess one question I have is, at the end of this, on Monday, when council reviews this, I know you've highlighted some of these questions, like, should we require a higher percentage of affordable dwelling units than the minimum 10% to be eligible? And, I mean, those are very impactful answers to those questions. And HAC isn't, what are you looking from council to say on Monday? Is it just like, we want to explore these questions?
So those questions, for example, that are highlighted, I'm not necessarily expecting council to even
Answer those, right? Those are-
to be, some of those are very technical and
Yes,
staff
that's what I-
is evaluating it with the expertise of folks in NDS,
Right.
some input from some folks from planning commission and
Maybe
Very
even the third party
stakeholders.
consultants, yeah.
so that list really is to show again, hey, council, this is what we're working on. Just like when we did in October on land bank. Here's what we're doing. We're talking with HAC, we're waiting for HAC's draft. We're gonna meet with the attorney. James is gonna come back, like we're trying to outline all of that such that by this time next year, hopefully we'll have a draft ready to be introduced and then ready to be vetted and then implemented.
And
Thank
for
you.
council meeting on Monday, what staff is expecting from council is to say, okay, we had you, go ahead and develop the program. So that's our
Oh, yeah.
intended
The
outcome.
blessing, basically.
Yeah, we are looking for general support, similar to what you just did in voice as a body. Wait, did you?
Well, we haven't done it yet.
We haven't done it yet, or about to do, I hope. We're looking for them to do the same.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Has CEDA
Oh,
been involved yet, or is that to come?
To the extent that staff has communicated and worked with Chris, the director of economic development. But they have not, we haven't gotten to that level yet. That's gonna be part of the work stream that happens afterwards.
That's Chris Engel of Economic Development.
Correct.
all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? There you go, there's, cause
Did you get that motion, Mike? Cause I'm looking at the
it's
transcript.
all of whatever
You got it.
Sunshine said.
I know, I can't remember.
Somebody write it down.
Better than AI, I got it.
Good job.
Okay, so the other thing on the agenda, is, the HAC minutes from March 19th. So we need approval of that.
Mike, you do a good job.
Thanks.
Okay.
I've been trying this whole meeting to, but it's not working.
I second Dan's
Oh, Dan motion, okay, then you second? Any other discussion or revision? All in favor?
Aye.
Any oppositions? Okay, minutes been passed. And then, the number next is elect, hack officers. Okay, so how y'all go about doing that?
Kind of did it a little bit. last
We
time.
made a motion and
We have an open motion.
without telling you, we moved to re-elect you as chair.
Oh, she was here.
Were you here?
Yeah, she was here.
I was here, yes, yeah. We
I
didn't
wasn't- I
vote on
wasn't.
it
No,
though,
no,
we
what we
just
did is
threw
we
it out.
completely-
Cause Phil made sure we understood
Wait.
that we need to wait and nominate on the floor, so.
Right, yeah, we were waiting because Sunshine was a proposed
Okay.
nominee.
Yeah, I wasn't here.
Okay, all right.
Just suggested that we,
So the motion's on the table already. I don't-
Motion is on the table, and
Will you accept?
will I accept? Yes, I've accept.
It's not too exciting.
Don't get too excited.
Okay, we have to vote, right? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Okay, and now we have to do it for vice chair.
I accept.
The motion was for all
Three
three.
package.
This is for all three of us?
Yeah.
Okay, so you should have said you accept when I said
I
that.
nodded.
Okay,
I
all right,
accept.
okay, so everybody is accept.
I didn't
Communication.
hear a objection from Mike, so I'm.
Eyebrow raise, so.
Okay, all
I
right,
think Mike was gonna
all
look
righty,
into
okay,
AI.
everybody accepted.
Real quick,
Our
real quick
next-
before you move on,
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna have to bring your bylaws back to you because of the time of that being entered into the intake system. We had a fairly strong approval, and then it was assigned to Rob, and then now this is not assigned.
it's in the wing.
So you might as well just take a look at it and see if it needs anything else added
That will
to
be
it.
on our next agenda.
So yeah, that's one, just want to give you a heads up on
Okay.
that.
We have to take a look at the bylaws on our next agenda.
We did talk about John Sales having like a representative come.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's gonna, as I mentioned, Pepe,
Okay.
meeting was opening, that's gonna be an agenda item for council. And I haven't identified which meeting, but I'm thinking the second meeting in May might be the closest practical meeting.
Okay, so now, anything else on anybody's heart? Now we're gonna move to public comment.
Wait, we have discussed the risk reduction survey. We still have
Let me
that.
see, I'm trying to, okay, I'm sorry.
And,
Okay, let's discuss the risk reduction survey, please.
I did my best to aggregate what comments came in into a list.
Yes.
Oh, right.
I have a question. Where is the fund, the money coming from?
Which,
For the fund, the risk reduction fund? Where does that come? What are you
previously, it was
pulling
gonna be a
from?
set aside of some bucket of money from the city.
Yeah.
Out of the general revenue.
So
But it's a nominal amount of money, it's
But it-
50 grand, 60
We're
grand.
talking about 2027.
whatever the amount
26.
is, when you all get to a place of final recommendation of policy or program and services, it can be a general recommendation that you ask the city manager and staff to find, whatever the general language, that's fine, the funding.
Okay.
But right now, there's no specific pot of funding identified.
Okay.
But you also should recommend an amount to, a seed amount. I think the last amount was 75,000.
75,000.
Probably just be more now.
And this will probably not take place until 2027 because the budget's already been.
Well, not necessarily. They can say no. I mean, they could say it wouldn't be till 27. We could make if we get to a final proposal in 2 months, we can say, please go and try to find the money for starting
Okay.
implementation in August, and they can say yay or nay.
Okay.
We don't have to worry about those details.
You don't think 75,000 is a good start?
I don't, that's where we were 5 years ago,
Oh, it's
6
not.
years ago, and it's, you know,
I'll tell you,
it just feels like it needs to be higher than that now.
But we,
Keep
but
in
we
mind,
need
the
to
city
know
of
who's doing
Pittsburgh had it for
what.
years, and they spent $10,000 out of their 75 grand, 'cause it's
Yeah.
really there as a reassurance.
Okay.
Yeah,
You don't
that's true.
actually go into
That's
it,
true.
yeah. And it's not like if you start running out of money, you
No,
say,
no.
"Oops, something's wrong with this program."
Did
You
they
know,
do it-
I-
did they do it?
I-
Did
I
they
sent my
administrate, or was it someone
comments.
else?
Okay.
But we still,
I guess Stacy, 'cause she wrote that.
but the survey needs to be implemented so that we know who's doing what.
Oh, the survey does, yeah, we can
Yeah.
move forward with that.
Yeah, I mean, we certainly can do that.
This should help you in your policy
Right.
design and discussion, once we get it back.
We need to know, yeah.
So we're just.
Was
looking
there
at
a
the first-
timeline discussed around sending the survey out and getting responses by when?
Not really. I was kind of hoping that if we had gotten all comments back, I did include some comments from Emily Dreyfus in this
Nice.
worksheet. She's actually on call with us as well. And then I also included some comments from Misty Graves, our Director of Human Services. It's the paraphrase, like I didn't copy her comments verbatim, but I would say we need more feedback from like human rights people, folks,
Have we,
social services
The
probably.
layman people.
did we
Yes, of course.
run this by CACI or anyone at the county as well to get, like, just like Misty provided her feedback
Yeah.
on the city side, because we, like, the jurisdictional boundary is blurry here.
Exactly. No, so I created, from this, I also created a survey for folks like Misty Taylor, our
I see.
director or grants program manager.
Yep.
My goal is to also create a survey for folks like that too. Basically, it would be the same, but just kind of heading some word and send that to them. I haven't yet. If I'm hearing support for that, that can be like the next step of work for me to do. So right now, the concentration has just been you guys and key city staff.
Can I
And
express a
also,
little bit
like,
of frustration here? This is, we are making this so hard on ourselves. We are going about this in the most bureaucratic way possible.
Conceivable.
This survey was brought up as an idea to enhance multiple conversations we've had over multiple months around this, multiple years actually around this. It has now become a thing in and of itself, where we're spending multiple meetings of the hack now honing the survey, which was supposed to be supplementary to conversations that have already happened. And so my strong plea to my colleagues on the hack is that we just allow Antoine to move forward and ask some questions.
Yeah, clean it up and send
I
it
mean,
out. Clean it up and send it out.
yeah, take some of these things, make some decisions, get whatever data you can. It's gonna be imperfect data, but it's here to supplement the conversations and the multiple public hearings we've already had, where we've heard from people.
Yeah.
And so I think I really appreciate your diligence in this and trying to make this survey platform great. I really do. But the survey doesn't need to be perfect.
And I actually think the draft you sent, what you all have now, you have a landlord version and then you have a community partners version. I think they're pretty sound in incorporating Mike's comments and Pepe's comments. I think those are sound as is, but I haven't incorporated like feedback I got from Emily or Misty. And I haven't talked to the broader community of practitioners as well, like Kathy and those folks.
Let me ask you this, Antoine, do you think they've got worthwhile things to ask?
You don't put me on the spot like that.
Yeah.
Of course
Yeah.
they do.
Okay, then put it in the survey, let's go. I trust you, we trust you. Put it in the survey, let's go. That's my stance. If you find 5 or 6 more questions to ask, throw them together as questions and send it out.
No, I'm ready to go on. I just didn't want to move without you all.
I appreciate that, but if everyone else here is okay with that.
We're in consensus, move
Yeah.
along.
Yeah, just love to deputize you to make decisions and go.
And I appreciate it because all this happened many years before my involvement, so I appreciated being informed about it and being able to give feedback back, but I also support what you're saying. I mean, now let's, move on.
It's the old credit policy on dealer credit. When in doubt, send it out.
So this will go out and by the time you
What
come
that
back
means, that's
in our next meeting,
you all can have what you need to kind of discuss design.
We'll have data back, not questions.
Yeah, that would be very useful too.
Thank you.
I hope so. I mean, you saw the response level so far.
And if it's incomplete, it's incomplete. Again, I wanna reiterate that I don't think that.
It's an input. It doesn't have to be the sole driver of decision making.
But they're the ones with boots on the ground and are seeing this.
It might be a good time to ask if you want public comment on this, seeing that we have to.
Okay, next meeting is May 21st, 2025. Now we'll move to public comment.
Audio is working.
We certainly heard it before.
We have two people that.
You hear us and you have.
Hi, everybody. I don't actually have a comment. Have a good day.
Hey, thanks,
Thanks,
Emily.
Right over the head somewhere.
All right, great, thank you.
That it?
That's it.
Okay, motion to adjourn?
Second.
Second, all in favor? Aye. Okay. Thank you, Antoine.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. You put a lot of work into this. Thank you.
Team, company.
The team, yes.
Oh,
It's exciting and so many things are happening.
Do you want me to come on Monday and
Much.
ask certain questions for you?
I would
No.
love, I would
I'm
love
gonna
to have
come.
the gallery there.
I am gonna.
I know, I was thinking about it,
But
but I
I'm
was
wondering-
going on Monday.
Oh, please do.
Okay.
I'm
Uh,
gonna be here Monday.
You wanna
so-
plan
I forget
something?
what appointment, what presentation it was, but, Phil and Sunshine were there.
Okay, I'm
And
ready.
it helped a lot. I forget what it was.
I didn't know.
When
if
the
it
land
was
use was
fun.
first talked about.
I did. the thing about
Do you have any certain questions that you would want one of us to ask that would help
Uh,
you to
I made some very detailed notes.
zero in on anything?
I haven't flagged any, but I
If
would
you
say
think
this.
of anything.
Also too, if you see something that, hey, I have a passion to talk about this point or something
Stuck
that
in, if you have to
you
do
don't want
this
to get
way,
across,
dumb.
let me know in advance, so I'll know the segue to you. Working.
No, I think, especially this is kind of just a, hey, this is what we're doing, blessings for what you're gonna do. It's just
Say it again.
or attempting
Yeah,
to
we're
love.
attempting to do a lot.
Mecca?
No, church.
Okay.
You guys are.
I want to show them that we have clarity on what we're thinking
Now.
about doing.
Yeah,
You know?
You mean which funding are you referring to?
They might have made a mistake.
That's why I said.
No, I know the project, but which funding?
No, nothing changed.
Break it up.
Are you talking about something else?
So you guys want from.
We're on this 15 now.
That's already
So what happened was.
Yeah.
But you know, it's.
It's approved, but no agreement.
Oh, yeah, we need to move that forward, yes.
Okay, it's agreement for.
Yes, but it's also, more on the front burner are
Oh, they don't
501
have-
and PACA.
It's okay.
Those are the two more important ones. Yeah.
I just got a feedback from the city attorney.
Yeah.
A few minutes
Yes.
ago.
Well, and I think, I also heard from Brenda that she's now
He
in
says
the
a
mix
10-minute
too, so I don't know if you
Yeah, two
spoke
of
to
them
her.
are with
Yeah.
city authorities.
Okay,
I just,
okay.
this morning, I just got a
Yeah.
feedback. back from
Yeah,
the
we
city
will
authorities.
need it for Park Street, but it's less of a priority than the other two.
I just wanna.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are on the other two.
It's gonna be 8 years.
Yep.
Everything is with the city attorney. So once it's come.